We give more injections than anybody. We probably see like 600 or 700 people a month. You know, we see a lot of people.
It's just going to meet our rural populations to make sure that it's accessible to them.
I mean, I've parked in the middle of cornfields in the middle of Pennsylvania, like literally nothing but corn around you.
You're gonna feel a poke.
Yep.
When they said this is gonna work with your brain so you don't have cravings, I didn't comprehend it.
Like, what do you mean there's medication that supports complete abstinence and that you're not chemically dependent on and that it takes away your cravings? It blew my mind.
From the moment I got it, I didn't have any cravings. It has seriously changed my life.
My goal is to look somebody in the eyes and tell them that there is a better way. There is a way out.
Just in a week, I'm probably behind the wheel 40 hours. You know, I drive a lot. Most of my locations are an hour to 2.5 hours away every day. My name is Stuart, and I am the logistics manager for Positive Recovery Solutions. I transport a mobile medical office all over Western Pennsylvania to reach out to patients who don't have a provider for the medication called Vivitrol. I had no idea if it worked or anything like that. I had heard what it did, blocking cravings and, you know, blocking, if you would use, blocking the effect of it. I'm an addict in recovery. I first used my first substance at the age of 12. Heroin ended up being my drug of choice, but I mean, whatever it was, I just wanted more of it. I've gone to prison, I've gone to jails, and I've gone to rehabs, and I've done all stuff like that. The last day I got high, I can remember sitting there and I was just like, I do not want to do this anymore. And then like, it went from that to like, I should stick a gun in my mouth. I just felt like I was destined to fucking OD and die or die in some violent manner. Getting up every single day and having to fucking look over your shoulder and commit crimes and hurt people you care about to fucking put a needle in your arm, like, dude, that's fucking rough, you know what I mean?
My cousins had started this company. I came in and had the mobile unit idea. We have 2 mobile units currently in Pennsylvania, and they service rural areas where patients might not have an option to treatment if it weren't for the mobile unit. 4 minutes down the road might as well be 50 miles for somebody that's having to walk in the winter.
We're going to Kittanning, Pennsylvania. Kittanning was a big mining town, river town, and it was hit very hard with the opioid epidemic. This is Main Street of this town, and you know, there's not a whole lot here. And this is like one of the less rural places we go. This is it. This is an inpatient and an outpatient facility. And then we just park back here. I'm gonna go hook this thing up at least and start getting this trailer warm. Oh, there goes my hip. I went to treatment, I found this medication, got into a 12-step fellowship that I'm comfortable in. Becoming a patient and being on the Vivitrol shot, I don't think I would be clean without it. And back here, this is just where our nurse is. Oh, she's not here yet. She will be here very soon. This is where she sees our patients and everything like that. Pretty simple setup, but it works, that's for sure.
So this is the box that the Vivitrol comes in. Comes 12 in a box. A needle box. Tissue. Today, we're gonna be seeing roughly anywhere between 15 to 20 patients. I'd like to try and get them ready and lined up.
Vivitrol is a medication that acts on mu opioid receptors throughout the nervous system. So when you use heroin, the drug binds to mu opioid receptors, which are located throughout the nervous system. When the drug binds, that causes a feeling of being high. What Vivitrol does is it binds to these mu opioid receptors and it blocks them without activating them. So it's as if there's a cage around the receptor. So if someone goes and uses heroin or Oxycontin, they're not going to get high. It's a great drug for somebody who doesn't want to use opiates at all.
What's up, boss? How are you? It's hard sometimes with insurance companies just because the littlest thing can change in your life and you lose insurance or whatever. And luckily this county, they have funding and they're pretty good about getting back to us quickly, but some places are just like you go to Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh, like they don't have funding for anything.
Money should never be a question when it comes to Vivitrol. Vivitrol is covered by every single insurance, including straight Medicaid, all MCOs. If you were to pay in cash, that dose would cost probably about $1,400.
What's your name?
Laura,
Okay, Laura.
I have been sober for 6 months. My sobriety date is May 5th of 2019.
How have you been since we saw you last?
Good,
Good?
doing real well.
How are your cravings?
I don't have any.
Perfect, that's exactly what we want to hear. Eating and sleeping okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna get ready and get you your Vivitrol, okay?
Okay. I have 3 kids and I couldn't even get out of bed 6 months ago without having some kind of substance in my system, and it's a completely different life. Like, it is a completely different life. When they said this is gonna work with your brain so you don't have cravings, I didn't comprehend it. Like, I didn't know much about it. I didn't do any research. I was just like, hey, I'm willing to try anything because I need to. And from the moment I got it, I didn't have any cravings. Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, it has seriously changed my life.
Currently, we see 647 patients that are actively using that medication every month to stay clean 1 day at a time.
I'm sorry, are those bigger since the last time
Yep.
I saw you? No cravings at all?
Nope.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I gotta think for a second. I know. June, July, August, September, October, November. So it'll be.
I thought it was the left, right?
Yeah. Since that first time I got the shot and I noticed that it worked, 45 minutes later, I have not had any cravings for opiates at all.
You're gonna feel a poke.
Yep. If you take heroin when you're on Vivitrol, you're not gonna get high. So you're essentially throwing away your money. The danger is, when the Vivitrol wears off, at 3 to 4 weeks, it tends to stop working as well.
Oh, man. You like to see people do good, and like most of it's success. It's not a whole lot of, I guess, tragic tales of like people we've had, you know what I mean? But when somebody misses their appointment because of whatever, you know what I mean? Something going on in their life or something like that, like you get kind of bummed out. And you're like, oh man, they didn't make it. I hope they're okay.
The only problem is the sitting down afterwards. It's worth it for me to not go back to doing what I was in the streets.
We're not just somebody coming in, telling people, well, you can get clean if you do this. We've experienced it. We've lived it. We've hired multiple of our patients, one of them being Stuart, who started out as patient 0 when we first started in 2015.
Now we have an issue with our water pump and it doesn't want to work. So this is the other joy of the job, is fixing things you've never really messed with before. An RV, they're not meant to travel like we do whatsoever. We're driving them hundreds and thousands of miles every week and taking them all over the place, you know what I mean?
You know what I was thinking? Why don't you, that one bolt that you have that's not hogged up on the end, why don't you thread the nut into that, and that'll give us something we can hold on to a little better.
It's getting cold now.
Want a jacket? I got another jacket. I always bring extra clothes. It was a rough 12 years, I'll tell you. The police chief here is a very good friend of mine, and he called me and he said, I'm not going to tell you I told you so. He said, but I think your kid's on a slippery slope. I think the hardest part of the whole thing was the first time that he got arrested, and they brought him right here, seeing your kid in handcuffs. Excuse me. It was kind of hard, and after that, I don't want to say I got callous to it, but you sort of expected it. It continued to escalate to the point that, actually I prayed that maybe God would just let him take a real bad shot of dope and end it all, because this poor kid was suffering. He would try and he would try, and it just, nothing was working. By the grace of God, he was spared, and he didn't get that bad shot of dope. But the thing is, I went to every trial, every charge, visited him in prison. I just never could give up because it's my kid, and I just couldn't do that. He was able to get into a rehab, and he was in there for a few weeks, and he told me about this product called Vivitrol. And I said, yeah, it's just like everything else you had, the Suboxone, the methadone. None of that stuff ever worked. And I said, why should this work? Well, he come out, and he was a little bit different. And then he went 30 days being clean. He went 60 days being clean. I said, well, maybe this is the real McCoy here. You'd have told me that he would have a house, a good job, be married, have a beautiful baby boy. It's just wonderful. I mean, it's miraculous to me. Now he has to pay it forward, and he has to help other people that, are going through the same trials and tribulations that he went through. Yeah. I got you by about 35 years. So.
There is no better feeling in the entire world, and I don't care what fucking drug you use, than sitting there with another recovering addict and talking to that individual, and you start seeing life come back into a person's eyes.
See you next month.
All right, have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you very much. I really can't even put into words what it has done for my family, not even just myself. Because I'm doing this process, I told my brother, I'm gonna get tattooed every month by you. One for every shot. For 6 months I've been getting tattooed. It's like, finally, I get to be who I was meant to be because I'm not worried about getting high anymore. That's a miracle.
All right, we're good. Have a happy Thanksgiving, okay?
You too.
To think if I sat down and thought that, well, there's 647 people this month that aren't going to die of an opiate overdose or an alcoholic death, I think that would be too overwhelming for me.
When I think about how far I've come, I'm definitely grateful. Whenever I make sure I run that through my mind, like, look where you were, you know what I mean? And look where you're at now. People question, like, what is the meaning of life? I figured it out. The meaning of life is help make the world a better place and help the next person